everybody, and welcome to Storm Reads. And today I'm going to be doing my weekly wrap up for the week of the 22nd to the 28th. And I read, I believe, 7 books, and I had quite a mixture this week. And a lot of these books were basically because I was almost finished with them anyway, and I just was able to finish them during this week. So that's why it seems like there's a lot. I had 2 horror books, 1 cozy mystery, 1 sci-fi, 1 fantasy kind of mystery, and 1 nonfiction humor, and 1 children's book, which was like super easy to get through. So we'll just go ahead and get into the books. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Pen Pal by Danthan Arbach. I think that's how you say his name. Anyway, this was a horror book, or at least that's what it's billed as, but I really didn't think it was very horrific or scary or anything. But it's a bunch of stories that they're separate, but they're interconnecting, and they tell a story about this guy is like telling the story about what happened during his childhood to like him and then one of his friends, and it was just super boring. I didn't really like it. I can understand, I guess, how some people thought it was like, horrific or whatever, if you take like the circumstances or whatever. But by the time I got to the end to find out like what exactly happened, I was so bored and done with it that I just didn't really care. I give it 2 stars because some of it was a little creepy and disturbing, but for the most part, it was super boring. I thought I was never going to get through it. I don't like the writing style, I think, because it's a story being told to me, and there's not a lot of dialogue. There's like a little dialogue between him and his mom, or him and his friend, or him and some others, but it was never very much. It was basically paragraph upon paragraph of just him telling me the story, and that's just not something I like. So I think that was one of the big reasons why I just didn't enjoy the story. The next I have The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. This is book 1 in the, let's see if I can remember what it's called. The Extraordinary Adventures of the Athena Club. And basically this is about Mary Jekyll, and her mother dies at the beginning, and she finds out from the like solicitor or whatever that her mom's been putting money into a different bank account, and she's been using that money to pay for somebody who's staying at the Society of, what is it? The Society of Mary Magdalene. And so Mary knows that there is a man that they knew, like she knew from her childhood. His name was Edward Hyde, and he's missing. And he's a really bad like criminal, and so she's thinking maybe her mother was like hiding him there, and she could really do with the money that she could get for finding him. So she goes off there to see what she finds, and what she ends up with, instead of Edward Hyde, she finds Diana Hyde, which is Hyde's daughter, and she's almost kind of feral. She doesn't care what she says. She just spouts whatever she wants and everything. She was pretty funny. She's probably like one of my favorite characters in the whole book and everything. And she's still wanting to find Mr. Hyde. So she's with the help of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, and there's also some murders in Whitechapel that Sherlock's looking into. So Mary gets wrapped up into that, and so they're going to help her try to find this Edward Hyde while she's actually trying to help them figure out the murder. And at the same time, she meets some really unique individuals, these women, and one of them is Beatrice Rappaccini, who she's poisoned. Don't touch her, don't let her breathe on you, don't be in the same room with her that's closed off for too long, because she is just basically poison. And I thought her character was rather interesting and everything. And then there is Catherine Monroe, and she is a Catwoman. She's part puma and human, because we all know, if you've ever read or watched anything to do with the like Island of Dr. Moreau, we know what he did there by taking animals and putting them into like humans and stuff and experimenting or whatever. And then we have, let's see, who else was it? Oh, Justine Frankenstein. And so, I mean, you can figure that one out too. Like, she's a Frankenstein monster of sorts, and she was pretty cool. And then, like, you have Diana Hyde, who she just, there's no telling what's wrong with her if she is a byproduct of Hyde, because you know about the Jekyll and Hyde experiment. And so, and but she's different, and yeah, she's pretty funny. I like her. She's young. I think she was like maybe 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there, and she was just very vocal and opinionated and funny. Now, this is told a little bit different, and the writing style might not be for everybody. I was very confused at the beginning of it, because there is these parts where the characters themselves are interjecting into the story and interrupting like the storyteller and stuff. So Catherine Moreau is basically the one that's writing the story, and when they come to like a section that she's writing and they don't like something that she said, they might pop in and say, no, that's not how it went, or something like that. So if you don't like that kind of things, because it does make it a little choppy. At first I was confused because I didn't have a clue what was going on, but then by the end of the first chapter, there's like an author's note from like Catherine, who's telling what you're reading is them getting in the middle of her manuscript, and how she should have never let them look at her manuscript or whatever it is. And so after you get used to it, I didn't have any problems with it. I thought it was kind of comical and fun, because you got them, and then you have Mrs. Poole, which is like Mary's kind of like housekeeper, cook, or whatever it is, because she doesn't really have much in her household because she doesn't have a lot of money. She had to let go most of the people, and so she kind of helps her with the day-to-day stuff. And Mrs. Poole was pretty funny at times too. And so yeah, I really like this one. I gave it 4 stars, and I just really found it enjoyable. We're going to try, I buddy read this with my friend Barb, and we are going to start the second one next month. And I say start because it's like 700 pages. Yeah, a lot thicker than this one. And so I have a lot of things planned for September, so I was like, maybe we could start it in September and then finish it in October. So we'll start it, but I did enjoy this one. Then I received a kind of unusual copy. It's an advanced reviewer's proof, and yeah, it's not even like put together, but this is like Cranky Chicken, and see, like, this is the cover, and then it's like the book is like it's separated out with staples in these little parts, but it's kind of like, I would say, a cross between a picture book, chapter book, and graphic novel, or whatever. I don't know. It's for super young readers, but it's longer than most picture books, because it's like 120 some pages, I think, or something like that. But it's super cute. It's about the Cranky Chicken, and it's about Cranky Chicken, who he likes being cranky, and he's walking around one day and he meets the Happy Worm. This is Speedy the Happy Worm, and he's excited to meet Cranky Chicken, and he wants to be the Cranky Chicken's friend, and the Cranky Chicken doesn't understand why he wants to be friends, but he says something happens and it shows you, and it's really super funny and cute. But Speedy thinks that the Cranky Chicken saved his life, and it shows like what happened, and which was really funny. And the thing is it's like, it's not like Cranky Chicken did it on purpose, but so it's kind of comical. And anyway, and it's them. Speedy wants to be his best friend, or his best feathered friend. And he's like, but Speedy, you don't have feathers. And he's like, but you have enough for both of us. And so instead of like best friends forever, it was best feathered friends. And so they're just kind of coping and learning how to be friends. And yeah, it was super cute. Like I said, it's the artwork's really pretty, and like there's not a whole lot, but we got the super Cranky Chicken, and yeah, like, I mean, not a lot on the pages, which is why I said it's more like kind of a picture book, but kind of in what I feel like is kind of like a graphic novel type form, maybe, but not quite a graphic novel, but it's not quite a picture book because it's longer than a picture book. So I don't know, but all I know is it was super fun, super easy, quick read. I read it in like 5 minutes, but I wanted to get it done because I did get it sent to me. This comes out, I believe, in September. Let me see. So I wanted to go ahead and knock it out while I had a chance. Let's see. Yes, it comes out September 7th, and it's from Simon & Schuster. So thank you, Simon & Schuster, for sending me this really cute book, The Cranky Chicken, by Catherine Battersby. I probably butchered that, but we'll put her up here real close so you can read it. But isn't it cute? I just love the worm. Okay, moving on from the cute book. Okay, and the one you're all been waiting for, I just know it, Dune by Frank Herbert. I finally finished Dune. Now, could I tell you what it's about? Probably not. We are going to be doing a live show. Me and some of the gals that read this, we're going to have a live show, and we've invited what I consider the resident expert of Dune, which is Mike from Fit to Be Read. And he's going to talk to us about it and everything, and maybe he can help us figure out exactly what was going on. I know what was going on, kind of, but to explain it to somebody else, it just kind of baffles my mind, and I can't do it. I just can't put it together in chronological order on how things go on. But I know it's about Paul Atreides. He's a young man who has a special ability, and his father was Duke Leto, and there's this emperor, and there's kind of a lot of betrayal within the ranks of these people, and there's the Baron who hates the Duke Leto and wants to get rid of him, and then you've got these people called the Freemen, which are the ones that live on Arrakis, which is what Dune is, and it's where the spice is. And there's very little water there, so they take water very serious to a point of really grossness. That was so gross because they when somebody dies, they render them down to their water and keep their water, and that's really gross. But yeah, so I mean, overall I gave it 3 stars because it wasn't hard to read, and I do think it was better for me to listen to the audio as I followed along because of the names and the places that I have a hard time pronouncing. But overall, I mean, it wasn't bad, but at the same time, it still went kind of over my head in parts, and I kind of felt like I jumped into something that I had no clue what was going on. And so I can't really give it more than 3 stars, I don't think, because there's just still, to me, it didn't make a lot of sense in my head. And it could just be because it's science fiction. I don't read science fiction. I don't get the techie stuff, and I don't get all that, technology and the stuff and the weird names and things like that. But at the same time, I did enjoy it. It wasn't bad. I still think it's one of those books that you probably need to read more than once, but then at the same time, I'm not sure if I would ever want to read it again. So 3 stars. But at least I did it and I finished it. So I'm really proud of myself. And so next I have an audiobook that I listened to, and it was Murder in the Irish Village by Carleen O'Connor. And this is about Siobhan. And she has taken over the family bistro. She's looking after her 5 siblings. She was going to go to college in Dublin, I believe it was, but her parents were killed in a car accident, so she has to come back home and take care of the family restaurant and her siblings. Now, some of them are old enough to take care of themselves, but she's still the oldest one and feels like she needs to take care of everything. And it's been about a year, and this man comes and he wants to talk to her, and he's the brother of the guy who was supposed to have ran her parents off the road. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She doesn't want to talk to him. He says it was his brother didn't do it, and he has proof, but he wants her to give him some money, and she's like, I'm not going to do that. And then the guy ends up, of course, murdered, and her brother, James, is the one that's in trouble for it, and he was drunk, and he doesn't remember anything that might have happened, and so she has to do the sleuthing to try to figure it out. And I enjoyed it. I really liked the narrator because it was the narration, you know, with the Irish accent and everything like that, really made it just more authentic, and I really liked it. Now, some people might say, well, her accent wasn't, you know, because I don't know if she was actually Irish or if she was just doing an Irish accent, but I do know I liked listening to it, and that's what counts. So I gave it 4 stars. Then I have Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village by Maureen Johnson and illustrated by Jay Cooper. Now, if you watched my school days tag, I tried to show like a picture of this because the only way I could read this one was on my computer, and but it's a kind of, I guess it's like a nonfiction because I don't really, part of it, it's kind of fiction, but then it's not, I don't know, but it's humorous. So it's just about the author, her take on how not to get murdered in a quaint English village. What she's doing is she's taking, like, if you've ever watched a British detective or a movie, crime show, or anything like that, most of the time you get murdered, it's in a quaint English village. Like, take Midsommar, that's like one of my favorite, but it's like this little English village where all this murder happens. So it's like, you know, how not to get murdered. You don't go into the pub and you don't talk to people, you don't look out the window. If somebody knocks on your door, don't say, oh, it's you, because, you know, that's always the way you always get killed whenever they do that. And it's so true if you've ever, like, watched those shows. And so, to me, it was just very humorous, very fun. There wasn't a lot of words on the page, so it was super easy to read, and it was only like 128 pages, I think. So it was like super fast read. And once I got started, I just had to finish it. And yeah, it was fun. I gave it 4 stars. So I think if you're a fan of the British television crime shows, you would really like this. Then the last book I have is The Hollow Places by T. King Fisher. So you don't have to see this one on here anymore either. And so this one is basically about Kara finds a portal to another dimension and in her uncle's museum, and her friend decide to investigate, and they probably wish they never did because it goes downhill from there. And there was like something that was in her uncle's museum that I kept thinking, when is she going to figure out that this has something to do with it? You know, I don't want to say what it is, I don't want to spoil, but it was just like, you know, all of a sudden you have this, and then all of a sudden this happens. Come on, put it together. Especially when she kept moving it around or whatever it is. It's just like, come on, come on. So there were some things about it that I just thought that the main character should have picked up on. But then it probably would have been a shorter book. But that kind of frustrated me. And then some of the things at the end that the main character did, I was just like, really? You know, it's just one of those bad scenarios. When something's chasing you, you don't run and go and lock yourself in your room where there is no escape. I mean, come on. Seriously. But overall, I did enjoy it. I don't really want to talk too much about it because I don't think there's really a lot I can say without spoiling something. But I gave it 4 stars. But technically, it's like more like a 3.5. But I'm rounding it up to 4 because I read this author's book, The Twisted Ones, and I didn't like it as much as I do this one. I did enjoy this one more. But I gave The Twisted Ones 3 stars, so I do think this deserves a higher rating. But at the same time, I'm not sure if it exactly deserves 4 stars, but I'll round it up and give it 4 stars. So normally I would split this and put my what I'm going to be reading in a separate video and do a Monday reads. But because I have a lot of things happening in September with my TBRs, and I was thinking about splitting my TBR up a little bit for September, I think I'm just going to go ahead and put this in with the books that I read in my weekly wrap-up, and then that way I just have it all together. What I'm reading, you've seen before a lot, so I didn't really think it really warranted a separate video, basically. So, like I said, I'm currently still reading The Wheel of Fortune by Susan Howatch. I'm only like 280 some pages into it. I didn't give it a lot of time. I do want to read it, and I want to see what the world goes on with this family. I'm not really a big fan of Robert or Ginevra right at this moment, but I'm still really at the beginning of it. Like, I think I've only read like 280 something pages, and this is a behemoth. It's really big, and I just want to be able to read all the talk that's going on in the Discord channel that's reading this with Melissa. I need to know what they're talking about, so I gotta get it finished. But I knew I wasn't going to finish it in August. I mean, I even told Melissa, I said I might get it started, but I know I won't finish it, and it was going to roll over to September anyway. So I think that's why I kind of just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. That, and it's not really the type of book that I usually read, but I'm trying to get into different genres and trying to push my boundaries and my comfort zones and trying out different things to see if I'll enjoy them or not. And I am liking it. It's just different, and so to me, it's slower paced, and so it's taking me longer. Where some people, they were just in for the drama, and they were just flying through it, and there's a couple people that already finished the book and everything. So, you know, good on them, because this thing is a big one. But yeah, so I'm still reading that. And I'm still And I'm still reading The Cajun Kiss of Death by Ellen Byron, and it's not because I don't like it, it's because I think this is going to be the last book in the series, and so I keep kind of putting it off because I don't want to finish it yet. And I had a lot of other books that I needed to prioritize and get finished and stuff like that, so I just kind of put it on the back burner. But I'm 56% into this. I want to know who done it, so I'm going to continue on with this one this week and finish it up. Even though it might be the end and I'm really sad. But all good things must come to an end, right? This book is at the top of my stack on books that I have to finish, and I'm not very far into it. I think I'm like 8% into it, but I have to have this one done by Tuesday so that I can review it on Wednesday. So I need to get this one done. This was my TBR Jar of Horror pick, and so this is The Dover Demon by Hunter Shea, which I have shown on here before. And this is just a cryptozoology type of book about the myth of the Dover Demon and whatever Hunter Shea is going to do with that. I really like Hunter Shea's creature feature books, so I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy this one. I really enjoyed The Jersey Devil book that he did, so we'll see how this one goes. And I've had this one on my Kindle TBR for far too long, and I need to read it, especially since he's like one of my favorite authors, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. Then I'm hoping to get to these books, because that's all that I'm currently reading. And I would really like to get to Relic by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. I've heard a lot of good things about this. A lot of people that I know really enjoy this series. This is the first book, I believe, in the Pendergast series. I don't know anything really about what it's about. And that's fine. I like to kind of go into books blind. And so if I get it done, you'll find out what it is with me. Because I don't really know. I just know it's about it's a natural history museum, and I think there's a guy named Pendergast that solves something, or I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. But I think I can get this one on audiobook, so probably one of my audios that I do this week. And of course, the Hat Makers by Tamsin Merchant. I really need to get this one done. I've already rechecked it out from the library, the same as the Relic. So it's kind of like, if I don't get these books finished now, I'm going to let them go back in case somebody else might want them. Especially this one, because it is a new book. And so there might be somebody that's wanting to read this one, and I don't want to keep it out. And I've already rechecked it out once, so I don't want to have to do it again. I do have an e-arc of this one, So, I mean, I still can read it. I just like holding up this really pretty copy. So, there's that. And, yeah. And I have a couple of audiobooks that I'd like to prioritize this week, and that is the Cat's Got Your Crown by Julie Chase. It's the 4th book in the Kitty Couture series, and this will catch me up on this series, or finish the series, because I believe it's a done series. And, it'll be one that I can mark off my Series About Series challenge. Getting down to the wire with it being September coming up, and so I want to make sure I get as many off of my Series About Series list as I can. So that'll get that one off of that, and that one is about, I believe, Lacey, who owns a pet boutique, and she makes organic snacks, plus she makes costumes and stuff like that, and solves mysteries. And then the next one I have is Which Way Did He Go by Dakota Cassidy. This, I believe, is number 8. 7 or 8 in the Witch List in Seattle series. And this is about Stevie, who is a witch who lost her powers because she got them witch slapped out of her. And you find out all about that in the first book. So it's kind of really a series that you should read in order if it sounds like something you would like. And it's really a quirky, fun, paranormal about Stevie, who, like I said, is a witch who lost her powers, and she's getting a few powers back. She can see ghosts, or not see ghosts, she can hear ghosts, but she can't see them. And so she has her pal Winterbottom, who is her international spy guy, because he was a spy, a British spy, and he helps her along with Belfry, who is her bat familiar, who also talks and everything, and they solve mysteries and stuff like that. And it's a lot of fun, kind of over the top, cheesy sometimes, but it's just one of those fun books that is quick, because like this book is less than 5 hours, I'm pretty sure, and so it's kind of like one of those when you just want to read something quick, you can pop one of those in there, read it, get it done. So I really enjoy it. So those are the ones, that's all the books that I know of. And like September's coming up, it's just around the corner. I'm going to be doing my TBR videos soon. And I have a lot on my plate, a lot of things that I wanted. I was going to go slow in September and only do one readathon. And then it snowballed into like 3. Plus a lot of other things that I want to read, so we'll see how it goes. It's going to be another ambitious TBR, and I don't know, I'm excited to read like all the books that are on there, so I'm hoping I'll be able to accomplish everything I want, but you'll know more about that in a couple of days, because I will be doing my TBR soon. And so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!